Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. That gentleman is Steve Bradshaw from Fantasy Trading Room. He's been around, he's been to a couple expos, but he's coming again this year. He's bringing the heat, and we will talk about all of that next. All right, less than 3 weeks away, folks. Holy cow, my brain is exploding. But we are so excited to have Steve Bradshaw and the Fantasy Trading Room back to the Expo again this year. Steve, welcome aboard. You look like you're in a beautiful area. You got a Carolina hat on. So, where are you calling from? I know it's not your real home, it's your lake house, which is very cool, or your family lake house, I guess. Introduce yourself and tell everybody where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm Steve Bradshaw. I am from Chicago. Right now I'm in Indiana, so just on the border. Finally getting out, enjoying the sun because Chicago, in a few months, it's going to be negative 20 degrees and freezing. So trying to enjoy it while I can.
All righty, that's all good. Yeah, I hear you. It's it's been warm up here in Canton. Someday it's been pretty hot the last probably month. But I've been inside because we're trying to get ready for the expo. A lot of stuff to do, a lot of interviews to do. But so we're excited to have you back, part of this event. So, Steve, for folks who haven't seen you on this show before, who hadn't seen you last year, or maybe they forgot about who you were and what you did. Uh, let's take a step back for them and tell them how you got started. When did you start playing fantasy football as a game? Obviously, we'll get to the fantasy trading room and how that led to that. But when did you start playing? What year? Who drug you into it? Not drug. You may have been drugged. Who knows? To get into this event, talk about that beginning in your fantasy football career.
Yeah, so I've been playing for a while, obviously. I'm not super old. I'm 20 right now, but I've
Okay.
been playing since I'm around 6 or 7, just like casually.
Oh
More so
wow.
helping
Okay.
my more so helping my dad out then, and
Sure.
he's the one that introduced me. Like he would do like a work league, and he loves football too, but he's not super, tech, and even at 7 years old when it transferred over to, computers and stuff, I would help out, and I love football too, so I would be really into that. My first memory of fantasy football was drafting Devonta Freeman, and he got us a pretty big year. So
Nice.
that was awesome.
Love it. Yeah, I love I mean, it's so cool and we're going into our 6th year of the expo. And what is really cool is when I start seeing the dad or the mom bringing their son, daughter along for the trip and, getting into the draft night outs and, just enjoying that camaraderie together as, father, daughter, father, son, mother, whatever. But just that, because this is something cool that you can pass down to your kids and their kids and on and on and on because it's something that's simple, but you can play as a family, you can do family leagues. So there's a great aspect of that. And what a cool story that your dad brought you along at a very young age. I mean, I've got a 7-year-old grandson, and I'm like, I'm not sure he's ready for fantasy football yet. So, but good for you for being on top of things. That's for sure. Steve, so tell us about how that at a young age you learned, you've grown. Now you're 20, and how did that lead into this cool thing that you have called the Fantasy Trading Room? Tell everybody about it, what it is, where it's at, and how they can utilize it, and why it's a big deal for people to come and listen to, read, whatever the case may be, your guys' stuff on that site.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of just starting in how I got into it. Really, the beginning of what I remember was my senior year of high school. You know, I was planning on going to community college, and everyone kind of knows how senior year is. It's you already got into your college, you're deciding. It's like, all right, whatever. Don't have many classes, so I'm sitting here with a bunch of free time, and I've always loved fantasy football. And really, in that free time, I just start to obsess over it. And like pretty soon in, I was like, I'm spending this much time. Like, I should start creating work around it. So that's exactly what I did. I started writing for a few other companies, Face Off Sports Network is where I actually originally started. And then pretty shortly after that, I realized that, I can use my age and having time to take advantage of this. And I really
Mhm.
just wanted more, and I wanted bigger opportunities than what a lot of other companies were offering right then. So I decided to build my own website slash media brand. And it's built alongside with my co-owner, Armaan Boksi, who, if you're at the expo, you'll get to meet him there.
Mhm.
He is super into the tech side. He's currently a CS major. So he actually built the website portion of it from scratch, which allows us to paywall rankings. We have free rankings on there as well. We can embed videos into it. We have a bunch of other cool tools on the site that we're building out right now. And
Nice.
then, so really, what is different about Fantasy Trading Room? One, our style of content. If you've ever watched a YouTube video from us, which we prioritize YouTube, Instagram. We have a pretty big Instagram page, especially with Dynasty now, and then
Mhm.
also our articles. We not only like to look into the stats, and obviously everyone does that. Everyone has all their models, and we do as well because Amon's very tech savvy. But we like to emphasize the film part of it. We're doing like NFL draft stuff as well, which is not fantasy football. But I've always thought that it was super helpful to actually understand these players' skills because sometimes it's data is great for finding sleepers, but sometimes someone just passes the eye test, and that's
Yeah.
almost equally as important. So we kind of
Right.
started implementing that into our content. We started putting in like film clips, like what we're seeing, into our YouTube videos, and that's kind of what separated us from there. On top of that, just leaning into being a younger owner of the brand and having a lot of other younger people. And fantasy football is kind of raised on the backbone of fantasy football podcasts, crazy long articles, which I, grew up, reading and watching. But now that social media is shifting more towards like the TikTok phase where everything is fast content, we're kind of embracing the modernization of it. Our articles we try and keep them still like, I'd say around like a mix of like 1,000 words where it's like high pace, shorter sentences, more headers. All of our articles have like thumbnails, for example. We try and implement graphics, like just a lot of modern stuff that I don't see a lot of other companies doing. And then the same thing on the YouTube and Instagram side of it, just fast paced, modern content, but also fast paced content while taking a unique approach to how we look at players, and also still keeping the importance of fantasy football and the stats because there's a reason everyone's still stat heavy, and so are
Right.
we because it is a numbers game.
No, that's awesome, and congrats on doing that. It sounds like you guys have been really rolling lately. So you've been to the expo, so let's have you talk about the experience. First, talk about the experience as an exhibitor. I know that we're getting close, so I'm not sure how many new exhibitors we're going to grab with this, but just how you felt that what you got out of it for your brand. Obviously you're coming back, so we assume it's been a successful scenario so far, but just talk a little bit about as an exhibitor, what you got out of it, how it's helped you guys grow, and just to kind of inform others out there about how important it is.
For sure. Obviously, we're coming back, so it was a great experience, Bob. Really appreciate
Yeah.
you putting everything together. Super smooth every year I've been there. With everything like that. But I think the most important thing and what we really saw was beneficial last year is just getting to talk and connect with all these people because you see them online. Everyone's busy throughout the year doing their own stuff. It's tough to actually sit down and talk to these brands and companies that you could work with, partner with, and learn more about what they're doing because it's so much easier to just talk to like 20, 30 companies. And from there, like us, we're looking for companies to either sponsor us or we want to work hand in hand with them. And obviously, if we're just reaching out to one company at a time, it's going to be hard to find a company that perfectly or does a pretty good job of aligning what we want to do because, that's
Mhm.
obviously important when creating a sponsorship. You don't want to just
Right.
throw anyone out there. It has to make sense and fit with your brand. And obviously, with everyone there, you get to see their booth, which is a display of what they're doing. You get to talk to them and get a good idea. So it's just very time efficient in that way. And also just a bunch of awesome people there. I think it really just helps me get a better understanding of what the fantasy landscape is, what people want, what's going on with, everyone else in the community right now. And overall, we definitely made some good connections last year within the industry, helping out, mutually benefiting our brand and others, and kind of looking to do that as well this year as we have, continue to grow. So yeah, I thought it was an awesome experience.
Cool. Well, good. And I'm glad you did. And I'm glad that it went as smooth as you thought it did. We're kind of like a duck, right? The feet are going like this underwater, but we just kind of glide along. It looks so smooth, but it's a little more hectic. But anyway, no, thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right. So let's talk about it as a fan. If they're coming as a fan, right? They're not a content creator. You've been there now a year or so. Talk about that experience of someone who's coming in. What are they going to see as a fan? Who are they going to be able to talk to, hang out with? The parties, the camaraderie. Just talk a little bit about, if they're somebody's coming as a fan, what they're going to get out of the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first year I went, I was coming as like a content creator, but I didn't have like my own brand or anything at that time. So I was essentially a fan. And obviously, there's a lot of people that you look up to. For me, I can pinpoint down to a few. I think the first year I went, Alex Caruso from like betting Twitter was there,
Mm,
Derek Brown from Fantasy
yeah.
Pros. Derek Brown's probably the most notable one where I was a big fan of his work. And before, I kind of just reached out to him and, talked to him about fantasy. And, he was super happy. We made a really genuine connection. I've had him on my podcast a few times. We still
Cool.
kind of talk to this day. Saw him in see him in like Mobile, went to the Senior Bowl. But just these people that you look up to, you interact with on Twitter, you see in the community, everyone is just super awesome and nice. Like you're not going to get anyone that's going to really think they're better than you or anything like that.
There's
So
no egos, man.
oh, absolutely not. It's just a bunch
Yeah.
of people that just love fantasy football and just in general. I think they're just awesome people to be around. It's a great atmosphere because you're in a bunch of cool environments. Like the first day, I don't know exactly what it is, but like the little gazebo. Then you have it at like the stadium, and I
Oh,
I, I
the
can't drink.
Centennial Plaza where we have that Friday party.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I can't drink yet. So
That's true. I
there's
guess I
that.
never thought about that.
There's that, and maybe I missed out a little there, but it seems like
Yeah.
everyone else, if you're a little older than me, or really like 2 years old, 1 year older than me, um, you're gonna have just like great time talking, hanging out with a bunch of people there because there's a ton to do outside just fantasy football, and it's just kind of what brought everyone together. But lot of great interactions there.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for those kind words as well. So you're coming back. What do you got planned for your guys' booth this year for the fantasy trading room?
Yeah, so we're gonna one thing we have that we didn't have last year is I talked to you about this. We are doing a jersey giveaway this year.
There you go.
We got a signed Stefon Diggs Bills jersey, so
Ooh,
it's
okay.
pretty solid. And we're kind of just wanting to display the type of content we make, getting people into like a free Discord, free email list so they can check out our content, and that's really going to be our main focus. I think last year we were talking a lot about our premium membership, and we'll still explain what that does. We'll probably be looking at people's fantasy teams this year because last year, if you sign up for our pro membership, our kind of main thing is we have a ton of awesome experts on board. We have a ton of exclusive deep rankings that you can get access to. It's pretty cheap, only $4.99 a month. But
Hmm.
I think our plan this year is we'll just be looking at people's fantasy teams for free, and then if they want to get advice beyond that, because I think having a team of people and not just one person review your team throughout the
Right.
year is super beneficial. You can sign up for our free trial, which is a month long, and then after that it's only $4.99 a month. So reviewing teams, we got a giveaway which is pretty simple to get in. All you have to do is kind of check out our content, sign
Hmm.
up for a few free things, and yeah, just really hoping to more interact with the fans out there and see what you guys want, because we're honestly in the middle of, we kind of have our content plan down, but we want to see what's next, and we want to interact with the fans and the other creators to kind of get our next step from there.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, Steve, thank you so much for being a part of the expo again this year. thank you for taking the time out to be on our interview here, so we can kind of tell everybody who you are before they get there. Of course, they'll probably recognize you. You're are becoming a regular now, so that's a cool thing. But tell everybody once again before we go, website, Twitters, Instagrams, all your social content, and then I'll take it out from there.
For sure. If you want to check out our written content, it's Fantasy Trading Room, fftradingroom.com. If you love fantasy football redraft, just search up Fantasy Trading Room. If you love Dynasty, search up Dynasty Trading Room. That's like the sub brand of what we do. But that's really all I got. If you just look up Dynasty Trading Room on Instagram, Dynasty Trading Room on YouTube, same thing, Fantasy Trading Room on Instagram, YouTube, you'll find it there by now. So
All
yeah,
right.
that's all I got. Appreciate you for having me on, Bob.
Well, thank you so much. Once again, folks, that's Steve Bradshaw, Fantasy Trading Room. You heard everything there. Of course, I'm Bob Long at the Fantasy Football Expo. Folks, we're less than 3 weeks away. If you haven't got your tickets, we will cut off tickets probably around August 4th, and then you'd have to buy them at the door. Get them now. If you got your email from the newsletter, check that out. There's a special coupon in there to save you some money as well. So once again, Steve Bradshaw, Fantasy Trading Room. I'm Bob Lung. Everybody take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Lock in your 2025 football tickets now at thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Hit subscribe and check out one of these excellent @FF Expo videos next.